Hello, everybody. My name's Milan Starcic. Welcome to Freedom Rising, a podcast dedicated to empowering individuals on the journey to personal growth, lasting serenity, and freedom from addiction. Tune in and join the movement. Your journey to freedom starts here. We neither represent, promote, or demote any 12-step program or organization. We are merely souls on the path of recovery with the desire to expand our lives and experiences and share them with you. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the 178th Recovery Freedom Rising podcast. I'm Milan Starcic with co-hosts Shannon B and Bryant W. Nice to have you guys here today. So we've got kind of a double topic for today. Today's topics are emotional regulation and emotional sobriety. Can you say what these things mean to you, Mr. Bryant, and why you were happy to come discuss them here today, other than loving us excessively?
I do love you, and thank you for having me. These are incredibly important and insightful pieces of the puzzle. Probably what I would consider the ultimate goal, and or where the most progress can be made once the acceptance of the seriousness of the powerlessness is there, because the next step is designing a path forward with new awarenesses about yourself. And it usually comes down to being more in touch with the fact that underlying the addiction or the abuse of whatever substance you were struggling with is this storm of impulse, autonomic responses to life, discomfort, mental ambush, all these different things that create turmoil in a human being. And so when I think about emotional regulation, I think about making progress in the area of being able to maintain homeostasis when challenges come up or when you are struggling with things like self-doubt. It could be what I noticed in my life is like whatever the most vulnerable thing was had me. It could be a bill, it could be being late for something, like whatever that thing that could make me feel like I'm not doing life well, like it could just totally dysregulate me. So now, under the same circumstances, I find myself having these new ways of trying to find balance and some sort of integrity within myself. And it's an ongoing process. And then I'll just quickly speak on the sobriety part. I think once we do get sober or clean, that this new whole like kind of ecosystem opens up about emotions and mental health and general well-being. And you hear classic lines like, oh, I was clean or I was sober, but I was an emotional wreck, or I was irritable, restless, discontent. And that's what they call emotional sobriety. And it's very clear, if we're honest with ourselves, when we're not in that state. So there's just so much to say about it. It's an amazing topic, and I think it's the ultimate goal. So thanks for having me today.
Thank you for being here. And Shannon, would you like to share next?
Sure. I remember earlier on in recovery when I first came in, like listening to a speaker and hearing that term emotional sobriety, and then like reading a book and some literature around it. And I was like, okay, that's what I need to strive for. I just need to be emotionally sober.
Mm.
Like it was a goal, like when do they give me the diploma for
Ah,
emotional sobriety, right? And I'm sure like I'm sure back then that I didn't realize all that it encompassed now, right? And then it's literally like a journey. And, you know, being in recovery, hearing things like, oh, well, when you started drinking was when you stopped, like that emotional growth, right? Like you're kind of
yeah,
stuck there. So I was like, okay, well, that was fairly young for me. So am I showing up like, a teenager that is rebellious and just wants things her way? So there's always like little tidbits I heard along the way that kind of played into how I was feeling. But I remember that things would affect me a lot differently in early recovery than they do now. And it's like an ongoing journey, like you said, like sometimes I'm sure we all remember in addiction, it was like little things could be magnified, and the things that should probably bother us or cause us to think differently is like diminished, right? It made no sense. And today, like to regulate myself is okay. I can receive what someone's saying. I can accept something that's happening in life and it can affect me, but I can pause. I can take a step back. I can regroup before I respond or I engage in a situation rather than being so quick to react, so quick
Yeah.
to get fired up,
Yeah.
right? So quick to um want to defend myself. And like
Yeah.
I've learned this over the years too. It's like, hey, like this person said this, but like what did I just hear from that? Because it's usually like this was a criticism, this was this, that tone
Yeah.
felt like this to me, right? And then I, like anyone, we, need to regulate ourselves sometimes. And that's been a journey for me. It's only as of, I'd say in these past few years that I have been able to not react so passionately or so fiery about certain things. I remember having a girlfriend that was like, Shannon, I used to be like you, something happened. And I was like, no, 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 boom. Like you gotta be quick-witted and get right to it. And I get angry. And she's like, now I just let that stuff roll off. I spent too much of my life being reactory, like
Yeah.
reacting like that. And it's too draining. And I remember thinking, yeah, I don't know that that's the goal for me, because I equated calmly accepting something or not responding as condoning.
Sure.
Ooh.
So, yeah, it's been a journey, but I feel a lot more level, consistent, than I've ever had in my life. Sure, age has something to do with that, getting sick and tired of being sick and tired of doing the same thing,
Yeah.
and growth. Yeah, and like emotional sobriety to me is simple. Inner peace regardless of what is happening.
Well said.
Nice.
I'm
That's it.
glad
You're
I'm glad
dropping
it
the
was
mic.
I'm glad it was well said at the end because the start was real rough. It's like, what am I talking about?
No, that was great. I think we should
I
just call it a day.
yeah, I think we're done. Okay, everybody, tune in next episode for no. Um, so when you picked these two things here, Shannon, uh, I felt like this was a couple weeks ago because we missed one due to something that happened there, and I felt like a lot better of a headspace to deal with this. And in full disclosure, I was like a volcanic reaction yesterday with a family member. It went full on yelling to each other with another family member trying to jump in and calm us down. So, like, my emotional regulation just like reached a boiling point yesterday where I'm really embarrassed to say how it ended up. But,
Yeah.
one thing that it really contrasted for me was that hadn't happened in a long, long time.
There you go.
Like it's like I have to kind of keep things in perspective. Like the emotional regulation to me is like about living a more balanced life and not being so reactive like that. And kind of in some ways about surrendering my preferences for that person in that particular moment, and seeing kind of the bigger picture of really what's important in my life, and to be quite honest, trying to be loving and having a deeper surrender are big things on my scales of who I want to be.
Nice.
And so like there's an amount of that keeps that in check, and as well like the emotional sobriety. I remember gosh, everybody here's familiar with options, but I remember one of the group things being about emotional sobriety.
Yeah.
And so for me, inside my step work and that group talk about it really showed me that I was ready to use over things, as these things were like triggers.
Yeah.
So it was important for me to not get too far into a pity party, to not
Yeah.
get too far into anger, and even not to get too celebratory, like really, and also the sadness. But it's like I was literally, delusionally using them for excuses to use. So when I saw that, and I mean, staying straight is of the utmost importance to me. I consider it a life or death thing. I don't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's literally this or die in my. So it's like I gotta watch that a lot,
Yeah.
and and that's a big reason why, like, my two most popular topics for my two-way prayer are about loving completely and deepening my surrender, because the more state of serenity I'm in, the less trouble I'm in,
Yes.
and because, like, I had the serenity prayer wrong, right? I was looking for acceptance to get me serenity, but it's serenity that will get me acceptance. And so I myself really have to watch myself, because, like, even yesterday, that was like, honestly, I can't remember a time, even in the last year, that that's happened with anybody, let alone a family member. And, and it left me really shaken. I was not considering using, but I was like, I haven't felt this precarious emotionally in like, I can't remember the last time, which is a great thing, but it's
Yeah.
like, how did I get from there to there? And in, like, like, trying to open a conversation about something that bothered me, it just, like, escalated so fast, and I was
Yeah.
swept right up in the emotion. And I mean, I own my part. I didn't yell first, but I certainly could be the loudest yeller. Like, fuck, like, all this singing's produced some real fucking good yelling voice when I wanted to. Anyway,
Mm.
I'll leave that there for the questions. Brian, you want to ask Shannon a question?
Ms. Shannon, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Okay. What is it like, it's a very quick one, to feel the freedom from those awful burdens of the past when it comes to deregulated emotions? Can you tell us a little bit about when you can actually feel like you are not being controlled by those things?
Thanks for asking me. When I can feel a feeling, emotion about something, and I can acknowledge it and not give it all my power
Okay.
and then move on. Well, the stronger I am at, like, letting go and remembering, like, what's important, and, like, there's sayings in the literature that stand out to me, like, did I not in fact get the ball rolling, right? Like, those come in my mind a lot because say it's work related and something ticks me off or I don't agree with something, right? I can acknowledge if I can acknowledge that and take a step back and then let myself move forward, then I can think back and go, okay, is this really, like, do I really have to let this affect me like this? But if I immediately get defensive or to myself or like, no, 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 I'm not down for that. And then you talk with others about it, gasses it up and stuff, right? And then it can take up so much of my energy. And that, like, can be friendship, just in a regular situation, something work
Yeah,
related, like all of it, right? And I still struggle with that.
definitely. Yeah.
So I
Hmm.
try. You know where I can really see emotional deregulation
Go for it.
is in others and
Aha.
what I would be doing differently.
Okay.
Ooh, we're good at other people's inventories. I like, it's like real easy. Like, I think I might be like have my doctorate in it.
Oh, definitely.
And I'm like, whoa, to let go of this one a bit, you know? Meanwhile, don't see how I handle those things. Yeah, but it really just is like being able to accept every emotion I have without it becoming my new personality.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You ever play, like, charades or other games where it's like when it's not your turn, you're an expert, watching
Sure.
other people.
I would have done it this way.
yeah, it's like I could have got that so much sooner. Then it's my turn, and it's like choke.
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, could you repeat the question, Mr. Raccoon Cup?
Oh, it's a fox.
Oh, okay.
B, we synced up. I brought this one of wildlife and BAM.
Is that a moose?
Yeah.
Banging.
Damn,
Mr.
all I got is a phoenix behind me.
It looks like you have really, those, what are they called? Oxalotls?
Oh yeah,
Do you see those,
oxalotls.
they're like an amphibious salamander with like the little, and they look like they're smiling. You look like one. I'm gonna
Good.
send you one after.
Okay.
They're incredible. They're like a little spiritual animal. What does it feel like for
I'm a spiritual animal.
Whoop,
That's
whoop,
right. You are
Yeah,
a transformation of sorts.
a transformation of sorts.
Yeah. So for yourself, thank you for sharing, by the way, that very personal experience you had yesterday. I can feel that there's some self-awareness around kind of like that general idea, like, I really wish this didn't happen. But then you added something positive, which was, I can see the contrast between this being somewhat kind of consistent maybe before and like more something that could happen more often. But then you said, this hasn't happened in a really long time. And I think that as long as we can move on and acknowledge that we would like to perform better next time, then like that's life. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for thanking me.
No
I thank
problem.
you for being here. It's nice to see you.
You too, my friend.
Mhm.
All right. So what does it feel like for you then, in contrast to yesterday, to feel freedom from these types of things now that you're in this kind of journey of emotional sobriety?
So I would like to also say that, the last 2.5 months, maybe almost 3, have probably been the most peace, serenity, joy-filled months of my life. Like, yesterday is not overshadowing my experience for those other days or months. And, I was thinking, like, when you asked this question right away, and I was like, peace to me is like floating in space where there's room between events and my response that keeps like a cushion of pain to a minimum.
That's amazing. That's a well-described thing. Yeah, thank you.
Like it's like, I feel really buoyant when I'm feeling serenity or peace. And I would liken it to like a feeling of floating,
It's lovely.
and it's like kind of man, when you're almost like working with magnets, and you've got two magnets of the same polarity, and you go to push them together, and you're holding this one, it's like you can't see nothing, but it's pushing that one away.
That's right.
And that's kind of like when I'm in the zone of it all, when I'm consciously contacted, and that feels amazing. And it makes me reflect about yesterday of like, how did I get from one to the other? Because I woke up feeling rested. I woke up feeling in a really great space. And then I had a great podcast yesterday morning with Andrew and Brandy. It was just delightful. And
That's beautiful.
and then this happened like 10 minutes after. Like I went from like feeling in the zone to feeling like a jerk so fast. And but it was interesting because I also was like, we better stop interacting now.
Yeah.
It wasn't getting anywhere. It was, in fact, it was escalating. It was with me and my father-in-law, just so you know. It wasn't with Michelle and I. But then she kind of jumped in and was like trying to get us to stop arguing, which is like a horrible place for her to be. Like it's her dad and her husband, both two people who live here. Anyway, and so I realized, and I sent him a message this morning, and I just said, you know what? I said, I feel that we need to make some kind of peace with this, even if not for either of us losing our positions, but just for the sake for Michelle. I'm like, she doesn't deserve this. She helps both of us so much. And I said, and she's trapped in the middle right now. And
Yeah.
this isn't fair, you know?
That's wildly mature and progressive. Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question in its entirety, but I did partially.
So what you told us was that the last few months, I think you said some really good stuff. You told us that that's the most regulated you felt ever, and that was the question. And then you talked about floating. I thought
Mm,
you described that so well. I actually felt it a little. I was like, yeah, because I know what that feels like. And those are
yeah.
those like precious moments where you're like, I didn't think I could feel like this, you know? And like sometimes they're for like 5 minutes, like you said. What I pictured when you shared is like snakes and ladders. Like you climbed up and then you just hit that and it was like whoop. And like you're like, whoa, you're just like all of a sudden back at this stage and you're like, how did I get here? But that's how it works. And I do believe sometimes when we're rising, things come to throw us off, man. I don't know why. It's part of like the
I
energetic,
think they're tests, man. I
something like
think that it's tests, and it's like we might fail five and win on one, and that lets us know what the next rung feels like and
that. I
gives us
agree.
something to strive for. You
Little landmarks.
like I refuse to be a defeatist and say, "Oh my gosh, like yesterday ruined my growth." Like it
Yeah,
didn't,
yeah.
but it certainly caused me to reflect a long time for the rest of the day about
Yes.
my part, where I went wrong, what I should not have done, and also it got me to analyze really where I wasn't loving completely, you
Yep.
know, and where I wasn't surrendering, like those two things,
Good
and
information.
there's a lot to own up from that.
Yep.
And now, could you ask yourself that question in a very polite fashion with a curtsy?
Is this the see-through spray tan version?
Oh no, this is like the plexiglass booth.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get in line.
Get in line. There's a show
um
coming, folks.
yeah, yeah. This is not okay. What does it feel like? Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was, I want to say between 4 and 6 months sober. I had done probably 6 or 7 of the steps. And I was at one of those deprivation chamber type floating things, float tank.
Ooh, I always
Yeah.
wanted to use one.
Yeah. And I'm in there. It wasn't as radical as I thought it would be, but it was like pleasant enough. Like I was there and I genuinely tried to meditate and like get in there and like get the most out of it. But I'm sitting there floating in this like liquid. And I just had this moment where I was like, I'm just floating in this. So I'm in this like pitch black room, floating in this warm liquid, being like, dude, like, how did you get here? When I think about like the hundreds of hangover days, the like financial worries, the time when I'm in the back of a police car, like all the horrible stuff where I felt like I was going to have a heart attack because I was so hungover. Like literally, I spent days of my life thinking I might have a seizure because like my literal nervous system was so impaired from like poisoning myself that I felt like I was going to just black out and go into a seizure. Like that's how I had to get off the subway in Toronto on my way to work some days because I thought I was going to have an anxiety attack. Like I was a mess. And I'm sitting in this, floating in this water, like fairly calm, sober, understanding myself better. I had had some recent achievements, which helped because I felt like I had like gotten back a little bit of momentum in my life after like some rough years. And I'm sitting there naked in this thing. Sorry, I don't know if that's inappropriate, like floating in this tank. And I just had this laugh with myself. I was like, look at where you are right now. And I felt good. I had not felt good in like 10 years. Like I
Mm.
actually felt some freedom within myself. And that was the first moment in my sober walk where I was like, wow, something significant has changed. And I knew that the self-awareness, the honesty with oneself, the that whole thing about rigorous honesty in the step 4 and 5, like I told somebody all the stuff that I needed to tell somebody. I wanted to get my life back in alignment with what I considered like principles, spiritual principles. I no longer wanted to compromise or like go against my values in order to have temporary gratification. And like all those things added to me feeling a very, very real sense of relief and satisfaction within myself. Yes, the water was warm and everything, but it was because of how I felt in me. And it was such a cool moment. And I've been trying to keep these pieces of self-awareness in place so that just like the two of you have been sharing, I no longer get washed away in the storm and I can feel when it goes like boop, 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 boop. You know what I mean? Like that tornado starts spinning and it's like quickly, what am I doing right now? What am I scared of losing right now? What am I worried that I'm not going to get right now? Why do I think this person's standing in the way of what I want, and are they trying to take that from me, or am I just like over complicating this? How important is this really? And if I do those quick little things, I can adjust my nervous system to no longer get like absolutely um disengaged from like the truth of what I want to be, which is emotionally sober or freedom from these bondages of self, you know?
I love that. And would you contrast that sensation to be like the difference between joy and just a positive physical sensation? Because I feel now like I might not have understood exactly what joy was before. And
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I was always seeking these physical representations of a positive feeling, like whether through
Oh,
orgasm, whether through
definitely.
drugs, whether through whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've come to realize now that it's joy that I'm experiencing and not just some positive physical sensation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Shannon talked about peace and you talked about like the serenity and that leads to acceptance. I think what you're calling joy is peace, like to me, and you can have peace and still have heightened levels of like ambition or even excitement or hopefulness or looking forward to or even what we call happiness. But I really think it's a calm. For me, joy is being calm.
Hmm.
I want to be calm.
But is it not like on the positive side of calm
Oh,
versus a
absolutely.
neutrality?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, so I think what I think is joy emanates from the calm.
Okay.
I think it's the garden that joy springs from. I believe you need it in order to experience what you're saying, in contrast to the previous way of trying to get it, which was through these external things, whether
Yeah.
that was like social acceptance,
Hmm.
substance use, financial goals, like, yeah, I landed that, whatever, and now you feel good for 3 days until like you realize your whole world's caving in on you because you're insecure and you don't know what the heck's going on, you know?
Yeah. I love that. I love you guys. Okay, you got a question for me, Miss Shannon?
Mhm. Your whole world's caving in. I just when I heard that, it's like, oh gosh, how many times I felt that way too.
Oh yeah.
Um, um, yeah. So who am I asking first, B?
Me.
You.
Me.
Okay. What are some tools you have found useful to help cultivate emotional sobriety?
Ooh-wee. Okay. First of all, prayer and the two-way prayer, a meditation, rest. You know, like being well rested is almost 85% of my emotional sobriety right there. Being too tired, I can almost guarantee I will be in like not a good state at some point in the day and be more reactionary.
Yep.
Exercise, diet, like one thing when I'm not eating very much sugar is like if I have sugar, I can have like a little reaction like a baby. Like I can see myself have a little tantrum at some point over something totally stupid. And it might not mean me crying and getting put to bed or breastfed, but
Wow.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah. It was like,
I was checking if you
what
guys
just
were awake.
happened? Yeah.
I like say stuff, and I'm like, this is my meter of whether you guys are
I'm
awake.
like,
How
what
many
happened?
seconds it takes for that to sink in?
Sorry,
But
it was just a lot. What you said, the visual, all of it. Yes, I was more than paying attention. So
Was
was
there a
he.
bonnet?
yeah, but
Now we're
so
traumatized.
it's all right. I don't mind. See. That was a test of your emotional regulation. You, this is a test. Um,
Oh my God.
oh boy. Um,
Okay.
okay, got to pull out of that. Okay, get back to it. Um, and I really find, especially tiring myself out with exercise.
Mm,
Like I think that I'm kind of a hummingbird and can be prone to a lot of different energy spikes, and to get myself a little worn down is a good place,
yeah.
and it also, when I'm exercising, it gives me the opportunity to be alone and connect with the universe outside,
Mhm.
which is a really important thing for me to feel like part of and not all of, because
Mhm.
it really, like, the emotional regulation comes from a point of my ego getting to go wild or not. Because when it's my ego going wild, it's all about me and how you're affecting me, right? And so, just even doing some genuine service can also just kind of take me out of myself and just leave me feeling actually quite joyful and quite balanced. I have a few sponsees right now, and two that are really active, and man, the brotherhood and the growth and the bonding that's occurring, it can be some of my greatest parts of my week.
No
And
doubt.
so understanding that helping others actually helps me is
Mhm.
just something I think that a selfish addict can't understand until you're doing it in the capacity that we do inside this
Yep.
program. And I think that's it for me, other than like breastfeeding. No, just to leave you feeling awkward. Okay.
Yeah, well said.
Oh my gosh. That was really, really good. And also gave us some entertainment. So thanks as always, Elon. Um, yeah, B, what are some tools you find helpful to cultivate emotional sobriety?
Um, well, time. Even though we kind of at some point realized that that's also something that we need to be conscientious of. So a combination of time in the sense that some experience in sobriety, but also less time, meaning I stay in a much smaller fraction of what we call a day. That
Mm,
helps me tremendously. Like if I stay present, they talk about that's the entry to emotional sobriety is the present moment because you read books about it, the power of now, all this stuff, but the reality is like actually doing it is a form of meditation and it actually requires a lot of self-discipline to not let the past or the future cave in on the present moment, disengaging you from the opportunity to be present, which would make you probably a highly more likely to be emotionally sober, which is being self-aware, which is the process of witnessing why you're reacting and responding the way you are. So it took a lot of time of experiences watching me kind of sway this way, sway that way. Why is this still affecting me? One of the coolest things, two of the coolest things that people have pointed out to me is that they say fear of financial insecurity will leave us. I love it because you assume as when you're new that that means you're gonna I'll finally make a lot of money and I won't have to worry. And the reason I didn't make all that money is because I'm an alcoholic and all this. And then you're like, yeah, now is my time to shine. And it's like you might not make a lot of money, but the point is the fear will go away. It will have
mhm.
less of a bondage on you. You probably still will make more money. But anyway, that's one thing. And then this other person I know pointed out that trudging the road to happy destiny, the word trudging is not what you would think. And so it's this little shift in perception of what they're telling us. I don't remember exactly what the wording is.
Walk with purpose.
Walking with purpose instead of trudging like, oh, it's going to be this backbreaking, ongoing, never ending, laborious trudge. And it's like walking with purpose. What you got there, Shan? Huh? I'm sorry. I want some.
Nicotine.
Oh, really? Right on. You're on the right track.
Off the cigs, off the vape. Tailor it off.
Bless you. That's amazing.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I shouldn't have pointed that out. I just couldn't help it. I thought it was some sort of like refreshing banaka or something.
It is.
What is a banaka?
Come on. Ace Ventura. Do you have a mint? Perhaps some banaka?
It's an adult breath spray. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was like the
Adult
beginning of my using. When I was a young kid, I was like, I got some banaka. I think there was alcohol in it. Anyway.
Wow.
What just happened? I feel like we just veered off like breastfeeding there.
Everybody's got a breast to feed.
That's right.
We are talking about trudging, walking with purpose.
Oh, the tools. Okay, so
Yeah.
present moment living. I love the idea of prayer and meditation. Not the idea, but the practice of prayer and meditation. Breathing has helped me a lot, regulating. I have I shouldn't call it broken. I have a damaged nervous system like that I live with. So it is incredibly powerful how easily I get kind of like I actually have to implement these things or I won't be okay. Like I get sick very easily. So for me, it's like an even more important thing for me to try my best to not let my emotions or my thoughts or my actual physical being be under too much strain because like my life does become unmanageable again. Like I literally had to, when I applied for my last job, like tell my employer, like I literally have to stay within the confines of a certain amount of whatever, or else my life becomes unmanageable. Luckily for me, it was an employment and the people are aware of how important it is for life to be manageable, or else sobriety becomes a risk. And I don't use it as an excuse ever. In fact, I push myself more often than not. But so for me, it's like critical to stay in a manageable space, emotional regulation and physical regulation. And Banaka.
And banaka. Like that.
That was really profound. That really like made me think. The unmanageability in sobriety too, and things I didn't even like feel stressful, feels too much, but it didn't even dawn on me like that's because this is an unmanageable situation. And
Yeah,
I can only control so much,
that's right.
right? So I need to know when to step back.
Definitely. That's part of the art because there's going to be things that can still provide that sort of stimulation. And it's not our work to try to fix it. It's like we have to choose to disengage sometimes. Seriously.
I love that.
It's been like
The
a
ego.
battle. It's been a battle too, like
Yeah.
since I came back, like it's been like been obvious, right? And pointed out to me too that like I used to think working nonstop,
Yes.
pushing into burnout, which I looked at as just being able to manage more than others.
That's right.
Ego. Was a sign of success.
Totally.
And if I say, I won't get into it, but recently I said, I can only do so much in this because too much of that is a big trigger for me,
Yeah.
and a risk to my recovery.
Absolutely.
And as I was saying the words, which were honest, there was that little piece of me that was like, you look weak.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Now you're expecting people to give you a whole pass, or give you a pass, right? And that's not what I was doing. I was literally just having boundaries.
Totally.
And it was greeted with a lot of support and absolutely, I understand and we're here to help. but I still struggle just a little bit sometimes with it being like, you should be able to manage more.
No doubt.
But I'm
Sorry.
already trying to manage a lot. Like, it's not like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
waking
yeah.
up and drinking a coffee and that's the day, like I
Yeah.
go. But it's not a sign of success anymore to be so many things going on and going to bed with your head spinning and waking up and that anxiety.
Well, to echo the value in what you just said, like something that helped me a lot was like once we realize it's not about us anymore, I think that's part of it. And then so my sponsor was like, well, the whole point is to be useful to others. So if you're all crushed and crashed out, you're no longer useful. So then you've depleted yourself and you're no longer useful. So I hope you can hear this because this is for everyone. But based on what you just said, it's like that's for Shannon. That's not for anyone else. Like that burnout, that pushing yourself, like that makes you achieving self whatever promotion to some degree or self success. But if it burns you out, you're no longer useful. So it's actually well, I think part of this whole thing is getting things in the right order. And that is that like the actual facts are this isn't about us. So now we're supposed to try to be useful. And we can't be if we are not taking care of ourselves.
Boom.
Like the greatest challenge of my life other than getting sober was when I lost my career, man. Like I was like so proud of what I did, and when I was told I couldn't do it anymore, that I was going to live with permanent neurological challenges, I literally I almost went into a depression. Like I was like mortified. I was like, how am I going to prove myself to the world now? It was horrible. And like I still struggle with it. Like it's really hard to change and challenge that part of us with that conditioning of like, oh, I'll sleep when I die. It's like that is foolish. That's foolish. Like you need to sleep.
Mm-hmm. I lived by that phrase for so fucking long, dude. Like
Yeah.
and like I had back surgery 23 years ago. I was a
Wow.
carpenter, man. I was a
Yeah.
carpenter. Like it was
Yeah.
like I thought I was a superhero. And it was
Yeah.
like, shoot, no, you are mortal like everybody else. Have
Yeah.
fun not walking. You know?
Huge adjustment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing
Isn't
that.
that wild, you guys? Like that I'll sleep when I die, but then not realizing that that could actually be in existence too,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, I was like, sleep is for suckers, man. Like, who wants to waste that much of their day?
Well, and like, I don't know, show me the list of people who give a shit. That's what I'd like to know. Like,
Yeah.
who are we really, like, who's acknowledging these efforts of ours? Nobody I
Yeah.
can think of. In fact,
Yeah.
most of the people I know probably were competing with me. Like, it's human nature. Like, we're not supposed to kill ourselves trying to look special to others, man. That's for sure.
No.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Love
and
that.
being in pain and especially like having, severe injuries, right? Which the three of us have experienced, like it forces you to slow
That's
down.
right. That's
And
right.
it's a different level of trying to deal with that pain without a substance. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
when I was in that car accident and, we're well over 3 years out and I'm still having dental surgeries related to it,
Holy cow.
and that pain so much and having to like not be able to do things that I used to love and enjoy, right?
Yes.
Is really hard.
I
And
didn't know that about you.
yeah, it happened before my relapse.
Yeah.
But it was again like, okay, I'll just get through this and then it'll be good, but it's
Yeah.
it's been a long journey and process. And even today I'm still like, there's like, I don't want to use the word trauma, but it's like there's just a different level of emotion in me when it comes to those things, right? Like even just to go to the dentist to be like prepping for something else.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Because you've exhausted that window of tolerance.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Ooh.
oh gosh, like as soon as I see like a needle come out to freeze me, I'm like,
Yeah.
here we go again. It's
Enough
like
is
I
yeah,
can't,
enough is
I'm
enough.
at my limit. I'm
I
at
believe
my
you.
limit. of like the teeth replacement and the dental surgeries and all that, like I'm at my limit, you know, but it's like, no, you still have to go through more. So
Yeah.
being able to acknowledge that with
Oh
myself
my
and be
gosh,
like,
yeah.
okay, what are some things I can do to bring comfort in an uncomfortable situation, right? And for you,
Mhm.
you had to do a huge pivot in your career.
Yeah.
And like, Milan, that's an extensive surgery to have, you know, and to try and recover from that. And yeah, there's things that maybe will never go back to the way that they were, right? But like having to come up with like new norms and understanding. And for us, where we have a mindset like, I'll figure out a way. You tell me I can't
Yeah,
do
yeah.
this again, I'm gonna be the miracle, you know, I'm gonna figure something out, right?
I will be the miracle. That is hilarious.
It's just like, yeah, it's just wild what we have to go through. So thanks for sharing, you guys.
Yeah,
I
you
really
too.
loved what you had to say.
Now
That
we need
provoked
you to
some good
answer your
chat.
question.
Oh yeah, now
Sure.
now you need to answer.
Milan, you talked about making sure you have enough rest, right? Like being well rested. That's a big one. Like that halt, right? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. That'll spike my tolerance and how I react to situations drastically.
Yep.
So I try to be aware of that. There are still times I push myself past when I should. And then I'm like, okay, wait, did I eat yet? No, better eat right now because this is, I'm feeling weak and it's heightening everything too, right? Do I need to just not talk to anyone and go have some time with God and shut my mind off of obsessing over this so that I can regulate again? Yes, like those are all tools that sometimes in the moment you don't remember, but then, it's a quick awakening like, hey, this is why this is like this too. Right.
Yeah.
So just doing those daily things, practicing mindfulness, having healthy coping mechanisms, talking to someone, right? And understanding if I need to talk about it, what it is that I need in that moment. So, do I need to call a supportive friend and just say how I
Yeah.
feel and have that permission to just speak unfiltered and feel some compassion? Or am I reaching out to multiple people about the same situation, trying to, get people to, yeah, you're right, right? Like building that committee. And like my sponsor says, talking to less than three, like one or two, is helping you try to process and understand your emotions. Involving lots of people is building a campaign, right? Like a committee.
Oh,
And I remember her saying that to me, and I still try to remember that too, right? Or am I internalizing way too much, trying to process something when I'm really emotionally heightened? Because then I need to take a step back. I need to talk to somebody. And I'm blessed to have great friends, a great support system, and a great sponsor that if I'm like, hey, I don't like the way this situation's feeling for me, help me to see this in a different light. Because I want to get to my part quickly and things like, what you shared, right? That was very brave of you to be so honest about things. I don't have like the capacity, nor does my recovery allow for me to harbor a lot of resentment, guilt, shame, remorse, anger, any of those things. So I know I have a part in things. I want to be accountable quickly, but I want to
Sure.
be accountable and able to make a change.
Mhm.
And that keeps me more living in solution, right? And also just like facing an emotion rather than avoiding it too. Acknowledging how you feel, giving myself permission to be like, okay, you're angry. Now, how are you going to dispose of that in a healthy way? Do I journal? Do I need to just go and pray? But
Yeah.
when I'm staying in that situation, what is it that I'm getting out of it that is unhealthy?
Hmm.
Like
Good
if I'm
thought.
staying in an obsessive thought or an obsessive resentment, even though it's killing me, it's doing something for me. So can't get to that root cause all the time on my own, and I'm not supposed to. So yeah, prayer, my relationship with my higher power. And honestly, like you said, Milan, learning from setbacks. Okay, this, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Now let's make an amends and try to keep this in mind for future. Yeah, and like I have therapists, I have, tools outside of working 12 steps that all together help me be able to function to the best of my ability as a healthy person.
Nice.
Some days are better than others.
That's true.
I love that. Wow. You guys light up my morning. I'll tell you that. That's amazing. I was like, when I got the word from Mr. B here that he was joining us, Shannon, I was like, I'm not even telling Shannon. It's going to be like a special breakfast treat today.
Yeah, when
Oh,
I
And
you
saw
didn't
you
know?
send the text, I was very happy because I feel like we're
well, that
all
was my
agreed
one giveaway
together.
was that doing the group text. I was like, okay, now she'll know.
I was
Okay.
really excited.
Okay, Mr. B Dubs, I have a question for you.
Throw it down.
The big book points to serenity as the true measure of sobriety. How do you recognize serenity in your emotional life today?
Um, yeah, so if I'm not poking too many holes in the past, just letting it be. Um, and then if I'm not letting fear get in the way of doing what I know I need to do today, in order to live the life that, unless I want to just be completely um, either irresponsible or like not taking advantage of the opportunity to create a life that I claim I want. I don't want to let life happen. I want to like participate in the creation. And if I'm not experiencing some serenity or that, I'll be honest, this whole thing for me has come down to a feeling of empowerment and self-esteem. Like I had really crushed self-esteem by the time I got like working on this stuff. Like I was really feeling pretty pathetically about myself to the point where I had lost my ambition and I had set the bar really low. And I think I began that when I was like 12. Like I think around age 12, I was like, fuck this. This is insane. I don't know what anybody's talking about because that's not what I see happening around me. I lost a bit of ambition and then I started looking for attention because I felt disconnected from myself and other people, and I just basically took me like 15 years to be like, okay, that's not how you live life. That's not what I was born for. These are not how you find lasting, satisfying connections in life. And so now I'm trying to use that, whatever that thing is that I have inside me, to take risks that are calculated and in alignment with my values. And I no longer participate in things where I know I'm meddling in things that are not my business, where I start feeling depleted because I'm like, oh well, you like I got involved in this and like they didn't even do what I said and blah blah. It's like it's just so um sort of like unnecessary. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm a lot more careful with what I do, and I when I know I'm not utilizing that inner resource of that connection with my connection with God, like I basically have given back into that old way of thinking and that old feeling, which is that I can't make progress because I don't know where I'm going. Whereas if I feel that inner resource, I know that I'm being protected because I'm living in alignment with my truth. And like that's how I move forward. And that's what creates serenity, because if I'm not doing that momentum, I feel like I'm either wasting time or living out of alignment with myself. And those things take away my serenity. So
Love that.
yeah.
And Shannon, the big book points to serenity as the true measure of sobriety. How do you recognize serenity in your emotional life today?
Like the literature says, right? We match calamity with serenity. So when something comes up and I don't go off the rocker on it, then I know, I'm experiencing serenity in that. Um, Daily practices that keep me in inner peace, regardless of exterior situations, which is a lot easier said than done. Work on, okay, what are things that I am doing in life or that I'm a part of that are triggers for me, right? Like related around family, work, recovery, friends, like the list goes on, right? All the buckets. And what when it within that do I know fires me up? And how can I have a plan so that I don't get sucked into that
Yeah.
a lot? I actually just when you said that, I just experienced a moment of like a time of serenity recently. Um, that I've talked about before, like let them, right? Like how somebody else reacts or how somebody else is doesn't need to be an invitation for me to prove them wrong or you know, okay, well, you said this is how I feel about this, and now I'm gonna tell you, right? Is just like accepting, okay, this has nothing to do with me. No problem. And it's a lot more peaceful in relationships that way. I don't like how somebody's doing something or what they're saying. I don't need to be there to correct them.
Yeah.
Like that's coming from a place of trauma or struggle inside of them, right? It has nothing to do with me, but I can match that with being calm, being
Nice.
nice, being kind, right? And compassionate. Because I certainly haven't handled everything, the way I wanted to at all times.
Yeah.
When I take a step back and think about it. So yeah, just hey, we're all flawed, we're all frequently wrong, we're all
Mhm.
emotionally ill, and showing that compassion for others and also not taking on other people's stuff
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah.
helps to stay peaceful and serene.
Nice. Okie dokie. So, how do I recognize serenity in my emotional life today? Man, I gotta say that it's something that I cherish. Like, I didn't really have any inside my addiction. Like, I look back and it was like, you know, kind of like I mentioned earlier, where it was like sensational versus joy.
Mm.
Like I really wasn't. Was not accepting of peace. There was no silence in my brain.
Right.
And
Right.
now, I kind of recognize it when I'm living presently and I can feel that I am. Like that, like I would like the zone, like, and it comes with a feeling of freedom, a feeling of joy, a feeling of peace. Like, and I gotta say that I feel a lot of freedom right now inside my life and inside myself. And one thing I'm recognizing is that I'm able to achieve serenity at a greater frequency when I'm alone. Like my reactionary uh, portion of my body with other people is just not there yet as much as when I'm by myself.
That makes sense. That's still amazing though. Yeah.
And I've really recognized that lately. And so it's one of the things that if things are going really sideways, I will try to withdraw to return myself to that state before things get too far. And unfortunately, days like yesterday, I'm not moving quick enough. You know, we have this free horse right now. I recognize that my free horse therapy sessions are going well. That when I'm with this horse, there is a feeling of serenity and joy that comes about. This horse is silly and loving, and she's just beautiful. And, slowing down, getting to pet her, but also slowing down enough so that she slows down with me is like a real it's like it just changes it. Like it changes it into a more serene experience. And so when I'm with her, it's like I can tell when I'm exuding a lack of serenity because I see it reflected in her actions. And but if I can bring myself down, then she comes in a little closer, is a little more snuggle. Like the greatest thing is when I'll be like, and she'll come and put her nose right on my forehead and breathe. And it's like whoosh, her little
That
grassy
is nice.
smelling breath right on my forehead. And I'm like, Man, that is a state of peace right there.
That is beautiful.
But
Yeah.
one with the horse breath, like,
Do that. Do the thing one more time.
well, I can't when I'm smiling. Now I'm smiling, but I do it real good. It'll make her come right running. Like,
Oh,
When I'm one with the horse breath.
yeah,
Wow. You dropped some zingers today on us.
the
and
sweet, sweet hay mouth.
yeah, exactly.
Hey now, hey.
So, but the one thing that I realize is that I keep getting caught in the trap of not doing the things that bring me serenity when I get too irked. You know, like it's like sometimes, like, okay, like one of the things that brings me serenity is writing songs. But if I get too worked up, I'm like, there's no song in me. Like, it's like I feel like I disconnect myself in a pattern of self sabotage. And I've really noticed it recently where I'm like, well, then fuck it. Like, write an angry song right now. Even if I don't like angry songs, which by the way, I really don't. But I really like when it's like, when it's happening fast and I'm getting knocked out of my center, I start cutting myself off from the things that make me feel better. You know, like I might
Yeah,
eat shittier food. I might like skip that exercise, like anything. And then it's like, you know, call my sponsors, like, do you pray about it? I'm like, oh, like I've tried everything except what you tell me to try every time.
yeah, yeah.
You know, like,
Sponsors.
yeah. Okay, so now we're up to another question by Mr. B.
Okay, so earlier on, I think it was after the last question, uh, there was the bringing up of being around other people's emotions. So my question is in alignment with that. So how important is it for you to regulate your own emotions when you're around others who are not regulating their emotions? Or if say it's a very important relationship, like co-regulating, like how important is that, and what are some of the things you do?
And that's for you, Shannon.
Oh, sorry.
I
I was
thought it
like,
froze. I was like, whoa.
I was like, this is really good. I can't wait to hear what Milan has to say.
Go like this.
Okay. So what are things I do to regulate my emotions when others aren't? Correct?
Yeah, yeah, or like, yeah, like what's it like to be around like others that are not using the same self-awareness? Yeah,
Challenging.
yeah,
Um, definitely. And I resist the urge to tell people they are.
no doubt. Yeah,
Um, I think in those kind of situations, well, I think I know, it's crucial to have your own boundaries, right? Like
nice.
I can show up for somebody, I can listen, I can be supportive, hold space for them, all of that. But when this is going on and on and on, right?
Yeah,
And it's not about getting a solution, it's just about, you know, venting and needing to be validated. And, that same could go for me too, because I'm sure I've been that way in the past. Um,
sure.
I have to be able to step back, right? And that doesn't mean like step back from a friendship or step back from, another person. It's just, okay, this is the time that I have for this. That's up. Then, you know, I remove myself. Like I don't have to go down that spiral with the person,
Yeah,
right? You can listen, you can be supportive. But like when if I start taking that on, or it's leading me to be resentful of how this person's handling a situation, that's when I know, okay, my threshold for this is at where it needs to be, and I'm gonna leave, exit out,
totally.
Um,
Mhm.
that's like in any situation though, I think, like we're dealing with human beings and human emotion and feelings and all of that, right? And that can take on a mind of its own if we're not doing the work to regulate it, right?
Definitely.
Also, being able to share too some tools that have helped me, right? The closer I am in my relationship with God, the less things are going to overly affect me, right? Or spin out of control.
Nice.
Um, it's really trying to practice acceptance, tolerance, love, and compassion without trying to change the way somebody else does things.
Nice.
Ooh, awesome. Could you repeat the question, please?
Repeating question.
Question repeating.
How important is it for you to regulate your own emotions so that you can co-regulate with others?
Okay, I would say it is of the utmost importance that I do that. Um, I need to maintain my emotional sobriety regardless. You know, like if I don't, I'm pretty much like a flag in the wind.
Yep.
You know, and my desire is to be the rock. And I'm just not free if you decide me. And this when how many times have we talked on the phone and I say to you, B, I'm like, you're like, how you doing? I'm like, it's a roller coaster of adventure. You know,
Sure.
like I say that a lot because I can be having the greatest day, the shittiest day, and everything in the middle, and it still actually be something that I enjoy. You know,
That makes sense. Yeah.
and had a couple examples this week. My daughter had to go for some kind of like emergency surgery for something. My favorite uncle died on Wednesday.
Right.
And through those things, I was really at this point of acceptance. I was kind of the rock for everybody else. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that it's like I don't feel like the flag on the pole anymore. You know, like I think that now I'm able to look at things generally from a slightly bigger picture than I used to. And that bigger picture makes me less dependent on that current second to be satisfying expectations or whatever. And, like, I think I used to like expect everything to be like a fucking sitcom.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense.
like I think part of my deception with the world was that I watched a lot of TV. I didn't have a
Oh, definitely.
dad. I was like grossly affected and creating expectations of things to have happy endings.
Totally. Yeah.
Like and so it's just
Dude,
like I just don't believe that now. Like and not that I'm like a cynic about it,
not at
but
all.
it's just like I'm enjoying the surprise of life more now than
That's
I
so
ever did.
cool. Yeah, that's huge.
Like, I'm like, because it keeps showing me that, man, I'm not really that great of a storyteller. Like, if the story's always Milan wins and then I'm just angry, that's a pretty lame story.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like, well, let's see where this is going, and things keep unfolding in a way that, um, I still keep on living. I still keep on living. I still keep on having good days. Every time I blink, it seems like another month goes by.
That's
And
right.
and and if I like, if somebody's like, "How would you rate this month?" Like you go into a doctor's office and they're like, "Circle your pain." And I'd be circling somewhere between an 8 to a 10 most months right now. And I feel that I would have never been able to do that before. I would have had so much negativity or judgment about my disappointments.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna leave that there and I'm gonna oh, guess who loves you guys? I just got this telegram. Me. You wanna
What?
answer that question?
Oh,
He's like, I'm lost in my own questioning.
so basically, I come from a family and
Yeah, sing this one.
yeah, my family has a name. Um, Essentially, I am surrounded by maniacs. So I love deeply people that are deeply unwell, and it's really, really hard. And not everybody. And I'm not saying I mean I was. So like my heart is deeply woven into the hearts of some others, where to regulate during certain moments, like anticipating what's going to happen. Are you okay? Like, are you going to die? Are you ever going to stop drinking? Why are you still in this relationship? Like, I thought you told me this, whatever. Like, all these different variables where I'm like, well, we got to do something about this, like in my mind, I'm like, we got to do something about this. And then it took me my whole life to realize, like, I just have to do something about me. And if that person and I have challenging interactions, then that's part of my work, because I love you. I'm not cutting you out of my life just because, like, there's some difference of opinions or some mental health or some addiction. I mean, again, we've talked many times about boundaries, self-respect, advocating for yourself, you know, lessening access that some people have because there's a lack of respect. There's all these little things you can make minor adjustments in order to accommodate for these unhealthy aspects of others. But to me, it's learning, like, how to pick and choose when my energy levels are available, so that if I take a hit, it doesn't throw me off to the point where I'm losing my own stability. So I have to, like, really carefully pick and choose, as I mentioned before, again, not to lean into it, but like my physical challenges make it where I have to be, like, very careful, or else I fall into that zone of unmanageability. And what that means is that I don't feel good. And, like, I love myself now to the extent that I'm not willing to not feel good for people that aren't taking the same level of respect, to a daily approach to life. I didn't try to. This is more of a self-centered side of sobriety, but, like, I didn't do this to go suffer in madness. I did this to, like, find sanity. So if I love you, then I can stay in love with you. That's my favorite part about this. I can still love people. Like, there's this idea of, like, running away or cutting out, and, like, there's a time and a place for, like, heavy measures when it comes to, like, other people who aren't co-regulating, or who aren't regulating their emotions. But I think that it's a lot more beautiful if you can find a way to remain in relationship but make those adjustments. And so that's my work, is, like, feeling the feelings, thinking the thoughts, and then finding a way to maintain connection in the with the ingredients that are challenging. So that's basically how I've chosen to try to approach that.
That's acceptance and loving more completely.
That's right. Yeah.
It truly is. Like, you're seeing the wrong, but you're not keeping a record of it.
No, and I'm not trying to change it.
Yeah.
That was the thing. It's like, okay, like, yeah, there was still this need for change, and it's like, there's going to be people that they don't.
Never.
I mean, they might be. I don't know. It's not my business. I'm not the judge.
Okie dokie. Shannon, do you got a question for me? Yeah.
Yeah, we've covered so much today, you guys. It's been great. Sure, share with us some of the gifts you've found and you've received. The stronger you get and the more you stay on the journey of emotional sobriety.
Well, number one gift, the actual sobriety. Like, the number one gift is that I don't think about, crave alcohol or drugs incessantly, 24 hours a day. I mean, man, I had, like, the morning plan. It was like, get to the bathroom before talking to anybody and do more.
Whoa.
Well, I'm just saying, like, that freedom alone, it's worth all the work.
I
It's
think
worth
you're
all the
right.
work. But
Yeah,
it's
that's
it, but it really, in reality, is not even 10% of the benefit.
yeah.
You know,
That's the crazy thing.
like it would be enough. And that's where I feel like you get more out of this program than your wildest expectations.
Yeah, I think you just
Because
said something very
I
great.
don't think until you experience serenity, joy, peace, those things, that you even know their value. Like, I just don't think until you have that experience, you can understand what that experience is worth. You know, one of the,
Maybe we had thought we would never even have those experiences.
like one of the best quotes from that conference I went to was, this guy said, he's like, I treat my serenity like it's priceless, and and in my emotional state, I do not pass like it's salt anymore.
Mm.
And I was just like, whoa. I'm like, am I treating mine priceless? And I'm like, fuck, I'm passing the salt still quite a lot.
Yeah.
you know and I thought about it, and I've thought about it a lot actually since then, and that's part of deepening my surrender, is that if I can get to a better point of surrender, then you can't derail me. You can't. Like, I simply am just in a space where like either I'm just not going to be there or it's going to wash over me.
Totally.
Like,
It's a tough one.
it,
Major.
dude, I think it's a lifelong journey. Dude,
Yeah.
I know people, like personally met people 50 something years in the program, and they could still be a jerk, like, and not saying that, like, nobody gets to like perfection that I've seen inside this program, you know, like and I just don't think we're designed to be. Just like there's light and there's darkness, that's always going to exist in us. Just like there's happiness and there's sadness, that's still part of being human. Like,
Yes. It'd
we
be
don't
like,
we don't become robots.
no.
Although I would be a great robot. You should see me on the dance floor. But no, like, yeah. So I think that answers the question, and I love you guys a lot.
You too.
Okay, you got B, you're up.
What is it?
Shannon's got to ask you the question.
Oh.
What are some gifts you've received in your life through emotional sobriety?
Okay, I'm gonna say something. Basically, I no longer require. This is the greatest line. So, like, my mentor, he showed me that I required other people's approval in order to be okay. And like, that line will never lose its power, because I do not require your approval in order to be okay. I can be I, for the most part, because my goal is to get along. I do have positive experiences with people, but if I don't, I couldn't. I really didn't like that before. I was like, "What do you mean?" I always felt either misunderstood, disrespected, like these things where I'm like, "How could somebody not like me?" And not because I thought that everyone should like me, just because I was trying to be nice. Like, I was trying to get along and whatever. So, like, when I was rejected, I was like, "What the fuck?" And I took it so personally. So, literally, this last decade has been me taking the personness out of the human interaction. Like, not entirely, like we've mentioned, like the perfection side of things, but like, I no longer need or require other people's approval, and it's given me enormous freedom. Like, I can walk away, I can shut the door, I can not reply, I can give up on whatever that is, I can shut the door. I'm not gonna grovel, I'm not begging, I'm not sending two texts. Done. And I am not chasing human beings to fit in. I'm not trying to be special in the eyes of others anymore. And it is a tremendous shift in existence. Like, I can't tell you how powerful that's been. It's probably the biggest thing.
Wow. And it's funny though that makes you so special in all of our eyes. Like, you're not chasing it, but you actually are.
Yes, it's a psych op, and it's working.
Like, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if you were joking or not, but the
No,
truth
I
is,
wasn't. I wasn't.
oh, okay, I thought you
That
were
was
joking.
100%. See, that's the problem with being a joker, is everybody thinks I'm joking.
Well, I knew what you were saying, but what I would say is, just like you said, it really has made relationships increase in value. It
Hmm.
has. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with my dad, I'll just share quickly. Like, I used to need my dad's approval. I was like, the way you looked at me, why would you look at me like that? Like, why did you speak to me like that? I don't take this or leave it. I love the man. No respect has changed, but like, I don't give a shit if he likes me anymore. I'm not like trying to be my dad's son that finally got it together, and we're getting along way better, because I think he subtly didn't know what to do with that need for his approval. He was like, I don't,
That
he
was too
wasn't
much
able.
pressure.
Yeah, he couldn't handle it. So I was like, now I'm just like, whatever goes, goes. And we have the best relationship we've ever had in my life.
Love that.
So, like, that's a really good example because I can tell you right now, to the stars and back, I was not going to have that experience in this life. I did not think it was possible. And I had accepted that as well, which made me no longer seek approval from him, which made us have a really great relationship. It's crazy.
Woo! All these conundrums.
Yeah, I had given up on the expectation, which allowed me to change my energy and how I approached him, which actually built a bridge to true connection to the best of our ability based on our personalities. It's pretty special.
Ah, man, that was really well said.
Yeah.
Shannon, would you like to ask Shannon?
I love what you just said right there.
Yeah.
Like,
Whoa.
wow, you know, um, and it's a good reminder, honestly, like that is true freedom. Um, being able to let go of what no longer serves me
Yeah.
and be okay with that, right? The closure for me is when I end something. Like it doesn't have to be chaotic, anything like that. I've let go of friendships that don't serve me, are unhealthy, we're not aligned. I can do that, wishing them, nothing but the best and,
Yeah.
spending love, but it's not a healthy fit anymore, you know?
Mhm.
Also, fear of the unknown, really putting my faith into God,
That's huge.
accepting that things look different than maybe I thought they were going to look, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Like pivoting, I think that's been huge for me. Able to pivot, accept things like, if I had a plan of how this was going to go or career was going to go or life was going to go, and now it's different, that's okay. Right. And truly focusing on what I have to be grateful for, opposed to what
Yeah.
I don't have. Gratitude will change everything for me. It lifts anger, it lifts resentment, even in the most challenging situations, looking at what I have to be grateful for. And that makes everything else a lot easier.
Love
Beautiful.
that. Okie dokie. So I've got a question. I want to check in on everybody's time frame here. How much time do you have left, Shannon? I know that Saturdays are your.
10 minutes is good.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question, but I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock each. That
Okay.
Okay.
work for everybody?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so we ask that you keep your shares to 3 minutes so everybody can have an opportunity to share. Okay, uh, Mr. Bryant, gratitude is a stabilizer. It grounds us when life feels unpredictable. What gratitude practices keep your emotions steady today?
So just because that came to mind, I had a closing ceremony with my course, my fellow students yesterday, and like the teacher assistant that has been with us since the beginning of the course. And it was powerfully emotional because of how much we share of our personal lives with one another, with what we're being educated in. And I was sharing and I really did mean what I said, and I haven't been able to tap into this as much in the last couple of years because I've been like deeply impacted by some challenges, but I felt this overwhelming flood of gratitude for these people and my course and who I am and like what I felt like I was connected to. And the words I said were, if I can be grateful in this moment, that means I no longer have to regret anything that happened before today. Because if I can feel that connection to self and others in this exact moment, that means that it's okay to be here because I am experiencing that joyful feeling of this moment. And so it like really helps me feel connected to where I'm at and what's happened to get me to where I've gotten to instead of trying to like wish I could change this or wish that didn't happen, you know? So I share that with you because that was like literally yesterday, and it really felt good to have that insight. So gratitude practices, I was asked to become a part of a group of people that daily share their gratitudes with one another. I mean, I started doing that way back at the beginning. I was told to make a gratitude list every day, and I can tell you, it makes a huge difference to see other people's as well. It like reminds you of like the progress other people are making, and then also reminds you of some things that maybe you hadn't been thinking about. You've actually shared that exact thought with me. So that was borrowed from Milan. And basically, I don't know. I look around, like my dog hugged me yesterday morning. Like she just like leaned over, put her weight on me, and put her neck on my neck. And I literally
Hmm.
felt like God was like hugging me. Like it was, she just so calmly, just like she was acknowledging that it was a new day and that I was waking up. And she was sort of saying, like, I can tell that you're waking up and I'm here. And I didn't need anything else in the universe. Like I just felt like perfectly okay with my dog and shit like that. And then I don't know, like the stuff I shared about relations with my pops, like it's pretty hard not to be grateful for that. And the truth is, I had a hopeless situation on my hands, which was total bondage to alcoholism. And you mentioned earlier, like the freedom from that alone is enough, but the extras, it's really beautiful. And I think the coolest thing in my 10 seconds is that we're not saying that we get everything right or that we don't experience challenges, but thank God I don't have to burn the bridge down, because of it.
The music comes in. That was
Come on.
great. Man. Okay, here we go. Gratitude is a stabilizer. It grounds us when life feels unpredictable. Shannon, what gratitude practices keep your emotions steady today?
Ooh, God,
Ooh,
prayer, huge, right? Doing
somebody
the
got their
things that
priorities straight.
doing the things that show my praise and appreciation for God, keep me in a more spiritually leveled state of mind, right?
Beautiful.
Realizing too when something's eating at me, like, ugh, you know, stepping back before I say something that I'm gonna regret, right?
Ooh,
Challenging myself. Why is this about me? Is this even about me? Like, why am I taking it on like it is? And trying to stay mindful. Practicing mindfulness has been really, really helpful to me. Being of service, right? Especially in the situations that make me feel irritable, discontented, like, ugh, why is this person asking me for this? Don't I say that I know to walk with God and to be aligned with God's plan for me is to comfort rather than to seek comfort, right?
yeah, yeah.
All of that stuff. Like, what can I contribute rather than what can I get from this? And realizing that that has to be in all areas of my life, not just when I want to do it.
Well said.
That's the prayer of St. Francis, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that. Man, I just want to start off by saying I have immense gratitude for all the moments I share with you guys every single time.
Too.
Um, Gratitude is a stabilizer. It grounds us when life feels unpredictable. What gratitude practices keep my emotions steady today? Well, okay, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Next Wednesday, I'm celebrating 2 years of sobriety. And my first sponsor, I love him, and I'm really grateful. I had him at the beginning, but he told me, gratitude is an action, and so for me, I really feel an immense amount of gratitude for my sobriety, and it's like. Man, you get like my heart is floating just like those hearts, guys. And um, I I live my program out of gratitude for the result. You
Yeah,
know, like I
it's
have
amazing.
sponsees. I do this podcast. I go to meetings. I start meetings. I help meetings. Like there's not a part of it that I'm a passive observer. I'm not just taking the bus downtown. Like I might be changing the tires on the bus on the way, but like it really, to me, it's like I have gratitude for my life now. So what do? I'm exercising. Like I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life right
That's
now. Like, which is pretty fucking bizarre for a 53-year-old person.
that's
You
amazing.
know, like I'm not smoking anymore. I'm eating better. I'm resting. You know, and but the thing is that my day starts with gratitude. It starts with gratitude because I know for myself that I could easily replace great thoughts with shitty thoughts.
Yes,
And
sir.
and and even one of the things that's come from this two-way prayer is that I need to practice gratitude in shorter intervals. And I actually can't just do it in the morning. Like I have to be reminding myself of it almost like as I'm starting an argument with someone. I'm like, three things I love about them, three things I love about them. And it's just like, it's really hard to think they're an asshole and three things I love about them at the same time. Try that. Like, that's an experiment. That's really fucking hard to hold those two thoughts of like how much I hate you and how much I love you at the same time.
Yeah,
You
well
know?
said.
And for me, you know, it works 9 out of 10 days, man. It works 9 out of 10 days, and you know, like that's 9 days more than it used to be.
No doubt.
Like it's 9 days more than it used to be. And so for me, you know, it's about being grateful for the lessons and the blessings.
Well
And
said.
all growth is uncomfortable. But if I can be grateful for that growth and that struggle, because I know that there will be some magical lesson in it, because there always fucking is. There always is, man. Every worst thing has had a silver lining in my life.
Well
And
said.
so, yeah, I'm a grateful motherfucker and I love you guys.
Love you too.
Yeah. And
That's
so, yeah.
surprisingly satisfying.
Yeah. Okay. Any final words, Brian?
I would say the continuation of growth and gratitude I have for both of your lives, and the fact that I get a chance to tap into the progress and insights that you both share. The odd time it happened to me, I think yesterday, I think to myself, how can we all understand these thoughts so intricately, even though like they're kind of abstract, but we seem to understand each other. And I just think that that's such a gift because we were not seeking these understandings before. We were trying to get everyone to just like see us in a way that I don't know we thought would be the meaningful way, but it just didn't work out. So I'm just so grateful that other people have had a similar experience and that I get to share that and be a part of that.
I love that. And Shannon?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I have tremendous gratitude and appreciation for you both. You are such a positive impact on me when I was in treatment, right? And helped me um experience things that I hadn't before, Milan, like you really pushed me to experience joy and to be grateful for the day and like just, in a somber time, you were real light and I appreciate that. And B, you were always so supportive to me, and listening and calm and steady. And, I really needed to experience that energy at that time in my life. And especially both of you, like male energy being that way too. And I felt safe with you both. And I continue to today. And I learned so much from you. And I just think it's been a beautiful journey of how we met and where this has taken us now. And you always share something on here that I need to hear.
How
Ooh,
cool. Thank you
both
so
you
much.
always share something
Now,
I need
if
to hear.
y'all wouldn't mind
Mhm.
just having like a little voice record to me when I'm in those situations and need to remember what you just said, just pop into my mind. That would be great, right?
Sure thing.
But yeah, no, I just, this podcast is really cathartic for me and it helps me to grow. And I'm grateful to be a part of it with you both.
Oh, I just absolutely love you guys to bits. And you both know that because you know that I sincerely have grown and loved and laughed with both of you. And, you know, every time it's a journey through time, space, and especially the space between my ears. I love you guys and everybody out there. Tune in next episode for more recovery fun. Bye-bye. I love you guys. Please help us help others. If you'd like what you've seen here today, please subscribe and share this podcast and help us get to 100 followers. We're looking for interaction with our audience. So please email recoveryfreedomrising@gmail.com or contact Milan South Okanagan Starcic on Facebook with questions, topic suggestions, or just comments. We'd love to hear from you.